Have you ever sat in a meeting and thought to yourself, why does this speaker sound so unsure? Why does his speech or presentation sound so distant? Well, it's often not about what he said or did not say, it's really about his delivery method. What's going on is that a passive voice delivery is being used in his presentation. That's why it feels a little off. In this clip, I'll be talking about active voice delivery, where it will help you turn boring, non-engaging presentation to more engaging, more present, more persuasive message. Hopefully, by end of this clip, you have the tools to make yourself sound more confident, more persuasive, more certain, and say goodbye to those evasive and boring speeches. So before we begin, let's define what's the difference between active voice and passive voice delivery. Well, active voice delivery is putting the subject at the beginning, the doer. What do I mean by that? For example, I drank orange juice. That's active voice. For passive voice, is highlighting the action. Orange juice was drank by me. Can you kind of see the difference there? So here are some insights, right, about active voice and passive voice. When it comes to active voice, in terms of clarity, it definitely comes with fewer words for active voice. So your audience actually requires less processing power to follow what you're saying. Compared to passive voice feels a little more more load to your cognitive side, meaning there's more words to comprehend, to process. So it feels more tiring to even follow what you're saying. In terms of trust and credibility, passive voice tend to create a psychological distance between you and your audience. It does sound evasive, it does sound uncertain, like the example I've shared. While active voice sounds more commanding, more certain, more relatable when you use the words I, we, your audience can connect with that. When it comes to persuasion, active voice definitely sounds more assertive, more commanding, more sure, while passive voice sounds a little bit less responsible, evasive. Now, in a business context, 90% or close to it typically use an active voice delivery to sound more confident, persuasive, right? And passive voice is not the popular choice. But don't get me wrong here. Passive voice delivery is not a bad thing. It's actually a useful tool for different contexts. Let me share with you what makes passive voice helpful and useful for your case. Passive voice actually thrives in a few environments. The first is when giving soft criticism, when you need to be diplomatic. For example, when you want to deliver bad news. Deadline was missed. Passive voice. Active voice. You missed the deadline. You see how aggressive it could be when using active voice? When you use passive voice, you focus more on the outcome, the results. And passive voice helps you avoid blame. Lessons were learned. See how passive voice never finger points? So when it serves you, you should definitely consider using passive voice in the business context. But when it comes to presentation, when it comes to pitches, active voice is definitely way more dominant and way more effective. So what are some actionable steps you can do to make your presentation stronger through active voice delivery? One, you can start auditing and have an honest conversation to see how much active voice is being used versus passive voice. You may be surprised by the outcome. Record yourself with a phone and just evaluate how many times passive voice sentences were used compared to active voice. Detect those passive voice sentences and rewrite them. Shift the subject to the front, the doer to the front. More I's, more we's. And when you detect them, shift it, rewrite the sentence structure, do drills, practice, and make it a habit that you will use more active voice in the business context. So here are some examples. First, Passive voice. Opportunities are available in the market. Active voice. We see opportunities in the market and we'll capture it. Example 2, passive voice. Improvements are needed for the company. Now, active voice. We can improve our company by introducing weekly check-ins. Now, I'm sure you probably see clear difference. It's pretty much night and day. So I definitely highly recommend and encourage you to shift to active voice delivery for your business presentation, your pitches, and meetings. Watch your presence grow from distant to commanding, from forgettable to persuasive by using active voice delivery.